So 18 says 2xy over x to the 1/3, y to the 2/3, to the 3/2 power. So when you have an exponent raised to other exponents, what do you do with said exponents? No, you multiply them. So I need to multiply. I need to distribute 3/2 to 1/3. Okay, so my numerator is not going to change. That is still 2xy. Okay, so what is 3/2 times 1/3? Should be 1/2. If you multiply 1/3 times 3/2, you should get 1/2. I think. You do 3/2 times 2/3. So 3/2 times 2/3. Well, the 2's cancel, the 3's cancel, you're just left with 1. So just y. Okay, what's next? Maybe. We'll see. What else could you do? You can cancel out the y's. So those y's cancel. And the suggestion was to rationalize. You could. You don't have to. The only time you need to rationalize is if there are no other, if there's no other y's anywhere in the problem or no other x's anywhere in the problem. Before you rationalize, you want to take care of these and see what you can do with those. Because you've got some x's on top and some x's on bottom. So what do you do with x's when there's some on top and bottom? What do you do with their exponents? You subtract them because there's 1 on top, 1/2 on bottom. What's 1 minus 1/2? 1/2. So this is really 2x to the 1/2 power. And there's no more denominator. So there's no need to rationalize. We could, but we're doing more work than we have to do. And I don't like that, so I'm actually going to write that as 2 times the square root of x. We can distribute that exponent to all the exponents inside. The important thing here and what people tend to miss is they forget that s has an exponent of 1. So you got to make sure that you put that exponent in there so that you don't forget to distribute. So you could if you wanted to. That's fine too. There's a lot of different ways you could approach this problem. So we're going to end up with the same answer either way. So if I distribute that 1 in, then I have s to the negative first. And I have to distribute the -1 times the -1. That gives me t to the positive first. Over still s to the negative first, t to the negative first. Why do my s's cancel? Yes, they're the same on top and bottom, so they cancel. And then what happens to this t to the negative first? I can get rid of the negative by moving it to the numerator. So that becomes t to the positive first on top. So how many t's do you have on top? So your answer, sorry, it ends up being t squared. Yep, the answer is t squared. 20. Okay. 20. Question 20. So the question I was asked was, how do you take the square root of 24? Taking the square root of 24, completely valid question. So what are the factors of 24? 2 and 12. 4 and 6, 3 and 8, or 1 and 24. Which of these numbers are perfect squares? 1 and 4. So I could say that the square root of 24 is really the square root of 4 times the square root of 6. Why do you think I picked 4 instead of 1? Yeah, it's the bigger number. So what is the square root of 4? 2. So that means I'm going to have 2 on the outside, and this poor little 6 is going to stay on the inside. What happens if I have x to the 6th and I'm taking the square root? X to the what? X cubed, because I have 3 pairs there. Then I have y to the -4th, and I'm taking the square root of that. What's -4 divided by 2? -2. Now, can I leave that as my answer? No. What's wrong with that answer? The y to the negative second. So where does that go? That's your final answer.